You're in the water loop.
Water loop, water loop, water loop.
Hey everyone, this is Travis with Waterloop. I want to tell you about the Flume Smart Water Monitor that I use at my house. Flume is the perfect device for tracking your water usage in real time with your smartphone. You can see exactly how much water you're using with showers, toilets, sinks, appliances, outside irrigation, any way you use water. Flume lets you set daily, weekly, and monthly water budgets. It also alerts you if there's excessive water use and if it detects a leak. In fact, right when I hooked up Flume at my house, it alerted me of a leak. I was losing a gallon of water every 6 minutes outside of my water line. Turns out it had been there for months, and I was wasting ridiculous amounts of water and money. I'm not sure when I would have found that without Flume. Flume is super easy to install. You wrap a band around your water meter, just like you put a watch on your wrist. Connect to Wi-Fi, download the app, and you're all set. No plumber needed. Now you can use promo code WATERLOOP to save 15% off of Flume at flumetech.com. With Flume, you'll never be surprised by a water bill again.
Water loop, water loop, water loop.
Welcome to Waterloop. Eric Adler, CEO of Flume. Great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me, Travis.
Yeah, so I've got a great story to tell about your product, but before I launch into it, I want you to tell folks what is Flume.
Yeah, absolutely. So from the consumer perspective, if you're a customer looking at Flume, what you're seeing is a connected home, kind of smart home product that essentially tells you how much water is being used both inside your home as well as outside your home for irrigation. It allows you to get notified of any leaks that might be happening on your property. And it also helps protect your home from damage in the event of like a burst pipe or a leaking water heater or things like that. So that's really the consumer product. From the utility side, there's kind of a much bigger vision as well as what we can talk about a little later. But that's a little overview of Flume.
Okay. And before I get to my story also, could you explain how it works? So somebody orders this, it comes in a box. What's in that box? How do they hook it up? I went through this process myself, but
Yep.
explain for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to make this very, very simple to do and affordable for customers. So the product itself, there's a hardware component to it that actually straps around the existing water meter. So to go a little deeper on that, we were looking at how can you actually monitor water consumption in the home. And generally what people do is they actually go cut a pipe, have a plumber come out, and have to install some sort of complex flow monitoring system in line. What we decided to do is piggyback off of the existing water meter, the existing infrastructure that's there by the city, and our sensor just straps to that meter. You don't have to cut any pipes. You don't need a plumber to do it. It's all do-it-yourself installation. It monitors that meter, captures all the data, sends it to a little bridge in the home that goes over your Wi-Fi network, and then all the information is available in your app or on a web portal.
Yeah, I mean, it really is as simple as you've explained there. I got this box. You open it up. It's so much. It's just like a lot of the electronics you get these days. Nicely packaged, very clear how it goes together. I'm not a plumber. I'm not really a super handy person, and you just go right out to the water meter and like literally just wrap the thing right around there. I mean, it's easy. Everybody's used to plugging in like a Bluetooth device these days. Same thing.
Right.
Plug that in, download an app, sync it, and like 15 minutes later, you're in business. So it's awesome. So I was shocked what I what I ended up discovering, being a water person, paying attention to my water bill, listening for running toilets, all that kind of stuff. So I hooked up Flume, and it like right away flagged that I had this leak, and it was telling me that I was losing like, let's see, I think it was a gallon every 10 minutes. And so I'm like, wow. I walked around my house, I checked everything, went out to the water meter box and realized there was like an area next to it that was very wet, a ton of water. It hadn't really rained recently.
Right.
So found out I had a leak there, talked to my utility, found out that about 8 or 9 months prior, they put a door hanger on my door telling me that there was a leak somewhere on my side of the meter. But you know, I feel like in this day and age, you should probably get an email, a phone call. It should be noted on your water bill, something
Yeah.
digital, right? A follow up.
Right.
Because I pay attention to stuff. I'm a water person, and I feel like
Right.
if I saw a door hanger, it could have got blown away, whatever. But so I did my great math. You know, a gallon every 10 minutes. That's 144 gallons a day, over 4,000 a month. Like 43,000 gallons about in the 10 months. Plus, we get billed for what's coming in, you know, for drinking water, and then we pay what goes
And then what's going out.
because that's how
Right.
they measure it, right? So super rough math, you know, I probably spent $350 to $400 on that leak, you know, as far as just paying for that water. And that's if it what didn't exist before they found it. You know, probably was there beforehand. Um, so anyway, very worthwhile. And now, in addition to letting me know about that type of thing, it has turned into you can compete in the family to see who uses the least water for their showers, right? And so if you have kids, that's kind of a fun thing, a little bit of an incentive. It lets you see, especially during the holidays, you know, how your water usage changes with all the guests and stuff in the house. Really got to see how much more the dishwasher was getting run and showers and laundry. So it was interesting to see that spike. Lots of applications, and just keeping an eye on anything that could happen. I did have a toilet flapper that got caught, you know, and instead of finding
Yep.
it 5 hours later, I get like a little alert. So real handy. Um, could you talk a little bit about how it actually measures that water consumption?
Yeah, yeah, no problem. And just to kind of comment on your story,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing how often we hear that story. You know, like it's always a bummer when someone does have a leak. Like it's unfortunate that you had a leak, but the fact that we were able to catch it is a great story for us. So we love to see those notifications. But the commonality of it's pretty amazing. Like within a week of installation, we find a leak on about 32% of our customers' homes. So one in every three has some problem in the first week. And then that's up to about 60% in the first 3 months.
Mhm.
So it's pretty incredible how often problems are happening in the home. And then, of course, it's great to see people taking action and competing and you know, yelling at kids for taking long showers and things like that as well. That's kind of the fun bonus with it.
Yeah, and
In terms of
for the record, I'm like the winner in the quick shower department. I have to, you know, claim that in the house right now. So
good. I hope so. And then in terms of how it actually works, so the water meters out there, about 95% of water meters on the market or out in the field right now use a magnet inside of it. Actually, it's a little coupling magnet that spins the register. So as water goes through the meter, the register is spun by this little magnet. And we're effectively picking up on that magnetic signal and converting that to a flow rate. It's kind of a challenging thing to do, and there's all sorts of different signals out there, and some of them are messy and some of them are clean. We spent a couple of years really working on refining that algorithm. But it's amazing how much information you can get off of that little spinning magnet. And if you think about it, you know, it's a very accurate reading. So it's exactly the same reading that the utility is using to capture their data. And there's also kind of the next layer down, you can start looking at signals that are coming through that magnetic reading. So every time your toilet is flushed, for example, that's a you know, simple signal that is read every time the toilet is flushed. And then, for example, when your dishwasher is run, there's a certain pattern associated with that dishwasher or your irrigation. So soon we'll be able to automatically tag those events and have them be automatically tell you, hey, that was your irrigation, that was your dishwasher, that was your toilet, and give you a breakdown of all that usage. So that's one of the things that's coming here soon.
that's going to be fantastic because I'm super fascinated in that. You know, I want to know exactly which appliance is hogging the most water and which one's using the most and which one seems like, man, I gotta maybe get a more efficient version of that or something. So that'll be a super
Right.
cool upgrade for you guys. Uh,
Yeah.
what there's a lot of movement towards like smart homes, right? And having these types
Right.
of devices that talk to us about electricity usage, water usage, being able to control things, all that stuff, cameras, watching outside. Um, what what makes you guys different maybe from some of the other water monitoring devices out there? What's this competitive landscape look like for a business?
Yeah, so what's great is that there are competitive products on the market. Anytime you're in an industry where there's no competition, there's generally no competition for a reason. If there's no competition out there, it means that this isn't really a problem worth solving. But in this case, we have companies like Flow Technologies, you have Fin, you have Buoy, all that are backed by some pretty serious corporations like Moen and Belkin and I believe the other one's Resigio. So there is serious money going into the space, which is great. But what's interesting is that all of these solutions are inline products. So these are products where, like I was saying before, a plumber actually has to come out, cut your pipe, and install the system. So for the product itself, you're talking about $500 at least for the actual hardware. And then you're looking at another few $100s just to get the product installed. So you're approaching $1,000 pretty quickly. And that might work, for commercial buildings, for coastal cities, California, where people are spending a lot of money. But if you're really trying to get to the mass market, get into everyone's home, it has to be affordable. It has to be a low barrier to entry. It has to be really easy for anyone to set up because there's so many things you're doing every day, and to get someone to actually take the step to go towards connected homes, smart water management, leak detection, it might not be at the forefront of their mind. And so it has to be a low barrier entry to actually get in there. And by having our product, only be $199 at price point and having to take, like you said, 15 minutes to install, that really lowers that barrier. And we're seeing a lot of success just in the consumer market itself, where customers are actually looking for a solution, buying our product, and being very happy with the purchase.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that point that if you're if you're in a field and there's no competition, that's a big signal that there's not a demand for that product. But
Right.
yeah, good for you guys. I definitely want to hear about where are the places where you're seeing this being used, residentially, just kind of people that are ordering it and use it. Where are your big markets? I imagine California is key in that Southwest area. And then I definitely want to hear about maybe some of the utilities that you're collaborating
Yeah.
with to get this in people's homes.
Yeah, absolutely. So California is, of course, a big market for us. One of the main reasons is that there's just a huge population here, and of course, the water issue is really paramount in California itself. However, we have product in every state throughout the country. We're also in a few other countries as well, even though we're focused on the U.S. right now. The Southwest and Southern states are also big ones for us, especially Florida and Texas. But what's interesting is, cities like Chicago is a huge market for us. And so even in areas where water may not be scarce, they may have, freezing issues and leaky pipes. And it doesn't matter if you're in a drought stricken area or not, every home is susceptible to leaking pipes and damage. And, when you have a home, you want to be able to protect it with an affordable product. And so I just bought a home recently, and now it's like it's really at the forefront of my mind. Like, oh my God, anything can go wrong with this place, and it's a huge investment. So I really understand where people are coming from. So Texas is a huge market for us as well. And to kind of transition into the utility programs we have, one of our big utility programs is in San Antonio with SAWS, San Antonio Water Systems. And they have really kind of stood behind the product because they have issues where water is scarce. They have increased rates as well in the district, and they have a lot of customers calling in every month, wondering, why is my bill so high? Did I have a leak? You had no way of telling me. Their customers aren't getting any sort of real-time data. So their solution has been to basically subsidize Flume for their customers. And so if you're a customer in San Antonio, they will actually put $170 towards the product, and you as a customer only have to pay $30.
Wow.
So it's pretty amazing kind of to see these utilities get behind it. And we have thousands of units in San Antonio now. I think we're approaching about 5,000 units across San Antonio. So it's really amazing to see that customer base growing and continuing to grow via word of mouth. And we're taking this, to other utilities all over the country. So San Antonio is just one of them, but we have over a dozen other ones that we're working with. And if you're familiar with these kind of AMI programs that are rolling out, we're beginning to see some utilities that are actually saying we would rather go with Flume instead of AMI, because what they're trying to solve is this customer satisfaction, customer support issues, water conservation goals, leak detection, and it's very expensive to roll out AMI. However, it's much more affordable to do Flume, and anyone in the utility that wants this, any customer that wants it, can opt in themselves, install it, have a little bit of skin in the game, and it's a much more kind of beautiful connected home experience. So it's pretty interesting to see what's happening in the utility space.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear about all that success. It makes a ton of sense for those reasons you mentioned, that customer service aspect, right? Like people want
Right.
to know what's going on, they want answers, and this is a way to kind of get that for the utility. So very cool to see it grow. I'm curious about the backstory a little bit. What led you personally to kind of get into this business to create this product?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always had a passion for just, I've always been like an outdoorsman, very passionate about the environment and trying to find ways to solve some of the issues that we're facing here in the US as well as abroad. And water it really was at the forefront of my mind when I was at the university here in Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. We were in the midst of a very bad drought in California. The city was trying to encourage people to reduce their consumption. The state was also trying, but there's only so much they can do without data, right? If people don't have the information on what they're doing, if there's no feedback loop, if they're not being engaged, you can't get people to change their habits. And so the whole thought was, what can we do? What can we create that's going to be a very engaging experience for customers to feel value, that will actually change their habits and result in a reduction in water usage and really becoming more efficient. So we actually took it on as a senior engineering project at Cal Poly, me and a couple friends. Once we graduated, began working on it full time, raised venture investment for it, and I've really taken it from this kind of fun project to a full fledged tech business. And we thought that there was really just this consumer angle at first, but we realized that there's so many other aspects to this problem. There's the utility side. There's also the insurance side, which is pretty interesting with protecting homes from damage. So there's quite a bit of different angles you can take with the water data piece, and we're working with quite a few different organizations now, which has been very interesting.
All right, so kids. That's why those projects in school are so important. You never know; they might turn out to be your career. So apply yourself. Well, it was cool that you mentioned how you're looking at being able to tell which different appliances, what sources in the house are, responsible for the flows. Anything else down the road for you guys as you're looking to kind of evolve and grow and continue to succeed?
Yeah, so that's definitely kind of the next feature in the pipeline is focusing on what we're calling disaggregation inside the home. And the first one you'll see rolled out is just outdoor versus indoor usage. So soon the app, you'll be able to see, okay, that's how much you use for irrigation. That's how much I use for inside the home. And then we'll break down deeper from that. Some of the other features coming down the pipeline are more focused on kind of that competitive behavior piece, better understanding how you're comparing to other people in the neighborhood, other people in your city, other users of Flume. So you can really kind of engage customers more, because we know that people are inherently competitive. And if you are being told that you're using, 50% more water than your neighbor, that actually results in some pretty surprising, conservation on that customer. So that'll be something else down the road.
Yeah.
And then
I hear you on the competitiveness. Like I said, it brought it out in our own household. So
right.
yeah.
So it's really interesting to see how kind of consumer behavior comes into play there. And then bigger picture, we're also focused more on these kind of on the utility side of the business, and how can we also provide valuable data to the utility, help them manage their city, their district, their water needs, And so kind of going deeper with the utility market as well.
Fantastic. Well, just like San Antonio Water System is a real supporter of your product, I am too. I'm glad that I got connected with you guys. It was just a revelation that I discovered I had like a leak for 8 to 10 months minimally, and it was kind of embarrassing being a water person that was going on. But glad I found it. Eric, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. Really appreciate it.
Waterloop, waterloop, waterloop.
Thank you to the sponsor of this episode, the Flume Smart Water Monitor, that tracks your home's water use 24/7, alerting you to excessive water use and leaks. Use promo code WATERLOOP now for 15% off at flumetech.com.
You're in the water loop.
Waterloop, waterloop, waterloop.